since we're like literally going through this process, like this transition together. So
And it's a lot more calmer.
Yeah, because I'm able to be. I'm just in a better space, like you know, like I was already working on a lot of things internally with myself, and then back then I had the stress of like, let me finish my school so I can get this career started, and you know I still had to work, and then I didn't have as much time with E as I would have liked. Like a lot of times he was with mama or with Nana, like he was, you know, somebody was watching him, and you know I had to work and then tend to him, and yeah, it was just a lot. And then just also just dealing with like me and his dad breaking up and things like that, like all of that was just a lot. And so I wasn't really able to be attentive to him early on at all. I feel like it wasn't until I actually kind of got like situated and kind of got a rhythm of things. Like I'm actually like working. He's getting a little older, like it's a little bit more manageable because it's certain things that I don't have to deal with anymore now that he's getting bigger. Like
he's more independent.
Yeah, because he can hold his bottle now, so I can do this or do that, like sit down for a little bit, or you know he's crawling, so I don't have to hold him all the time.
The dilemmas of being a single mother.
Yeah, so that was very different. But now you know I have his dad here, so we're like both helping each other out with a lot of things. I don't have to just do everything on my own, and then I'm not working, so I don't have to deal with the stress of going to work, making this amount of money to pay the bills. Like I don't have to worry about that, and I can spend as much time as I need to, like with Judah, and still, you know, handle my business too, because I am gonna start back doing my business.
Real estate, life, Westall.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So how is your? So were you breastfeeding? Did you start breastfeeding with Elijah?
No,
okay.
I attempted. They did show me in the hospital, like they have the lactation lady come, but it was completely different because I remember the lady came and she wasn't really teaching me how to do it.
She was just doing it for you.
Yeah, she did. Same. Yeah, she just kind of just popped my boob in his mouth.
And you know, they not even supposed to be touching your breast.
Oh, really? Yeah, see, she literally just like, let me show you, and just put it in there. And it's like, man,
you showed me, but you didn't show me.
Yeah,
like
that doesn't teach me how to do it, because the one that Michelle had, the lactation lady, I want to say her name is Tiara. She came and she more so guided me through the process. Like she had me, she was like, I want you to hold your boob, you know, like with the little, like with a cup, like a C, like a cup, like you're cupping it. And she showed me like just like hand gestures, and then I did it myself. And she was like, so what you want to wait for is the cue to, you know, rub on his nose, wait on his mouth to get as wide as it can, and you want to bring him to you. So you don't want to just like shove your boob, you just want to get your boob in position and just bring him to you, basically. And then you don't want to hold his head, you're not bringing his head, you want to have a good grip on the neck, so you're not, I guess, you know, just
causing pain, uncomfortable stuff for him.
So like the way that, even in the way that they did that, was just completely different. And just before you answer, it was just so crazy, because when I was going through the whole breastfeeding journey and just trying to figure it out, and like I just wanted to give up so bad, even though my nipples were hurting and they felt like they was gonna fall off, every time I looked at him like sucking on my boob, it was like, no, for real.
No, it was just it's not funny. It's just for whatever reason, my brain was trying to picture it falling off, and it's just, sorry.
For real, like every time I looked at him, you know, just like this, like how he sucked on my boob. Now, he was always like so gentle, you know, like he didn't mean harm. I was doing the wrong thing. And so it was just like, wow, like he's really just like so innocent.
Yeah.
Just like he's just trying to he's just trying to feed.
Babies are always innocent for sure. They're just so, I love babies. I can't wait to have many more. So question. So what has your experience been as like a nursing mom? Like you literally breastfeeding. Like would you pick breastfeeding over formula any day, or is it just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do it this time, see if I like it, or are you gonna, I'm gonna ask that other question later, but yeah, just that one. So yeah.
So it's definitely been a journey. It's like no doubt about it, I would always breastfeed. Like I would do breastfeeding and breast pumping over formula any day. Like formula is not touching my kids' insides at all. They're not even gonna know what formula is, you know.
So no, for real. So I feel that. So does it make you, being that you don't want them to touch formula at all, does that make you pay more attention to your nutrition? So how's that journey been? Because I think a lot of moms don't really understand that part. And even when it comes to milk production, like you can take all these lactation cookies and all that stuff, but it's also like, how are you staying hydrated? Like, what are you doing?
So for me, it wasn't really the breastfeeding in particular. I mean, I guess the breastfeeding led to me understanding how important it is for me to be intentional about what I'm putting into my body. Because through the breastfeeding, he was having issues with his stomach. So he was like having issues with his gas, and he literally was like keeping me and Terry up all night. Like we was up all night and he was just crying, and I can tell the difference between his hungry cry and his pain cry. Like him being in pain. So when he's in pain, it sounds more like he's yelling. Like he's screaming is more so what it sounds like when he's in pain, versus when he's crying, like, or when he's hungry, he's just crying. It's like a little, it's cute, you know, like
a little whine.
Yeah, it's like, it's annoying, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
but you understand.
Yeah, but I know like which cry is what. But well, I guess without that experience, I wouldn't have been able to decipher between the two, because you know he had to be in pain for me to be able to understand that. But knowing that if I changed how I was eating, because even when I wrote that post on Facebook, like I was like, ain't nothing more gassier than a newborn baby, and you was just like, well, what you eating? And you wasn't the only person that said that. And so when I understood, okay, what I'm eating might be making him gassy, and it's crazy because I was super gassy during the time that he was gassy. And I was like, okay, so maybe it is something that I'm eating. And at the time I was eating cheese. I was eating, I don't really eat eggs, but every now and then I make some, like if I'm making eggs for Terry and Eve, like I have some eggs, but that dairy was definitely not doing his stomach any good.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, so as soon as I cut that out, and then I started back eating like quinoa, I was doing the chickpea tuna, I was doing more
like the plant-based vegan stuff.
When I started eating back like that, within the following week, he was back to like his stomach was fine, you know, and then he was like sleeping throughout the night. So I think it was just like really just going through him being in pain, and then being like, okay, well, what can I do to help him? That's where I was like, okay, let me be more intentional about what I'm putting into my body, because he's literally feeding off of what I'm putting into my body.
Right.
So yeah, and even still, formula is just off the table. Like that's just not even, But yeah, I would definitely say breastfeeding does make you more aware, especially if you're going to be experiencing like your child you know, going through something because of what you're doing to yourself. It's going to definitely make you more aware of your nutrition and stuff,
and your body, and I think in your body in general, kind of like how we was talking about earlier, you looking at yourself. It's just like, I just think it's another way for women to like look at themselves and study themselves, you know, because like you were saying, you know, you felt like it was trauma that you did experience. It was traumatic, but you know, instead of looking at it like trauma, it's more of like, oh, I have to embrace this new version of me or this new momhood that I stepped into, like, because every child is different. Just like you were talking about with E, was more kind of like, what you say? It was more so survival versus here it's like more loving, adjustable. It's an adjustment, it's adaptability that's happening.
But does trauma have to be like a bad thing?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I say it's more of like it's a perspective.
Yeah,
because it's what you experience. I think it was more so they call it traumatic because it's not like a everyday thing.
It was just a big thing that happened that
it's natural.
Shifted your perspective in your life really all together. So
that's really what trauma is, a shiftment in your life. So
so and I guess like I'm really coming to the realization now that even though like I'm calling it trauma, I'm not saying that with it, I guess like in the notion of it being something bad. You know, it was just very big for my body, and it I don't know, like even when I think about it now, like my heart feels some type of way. You know, so even when I think about, like I was telling you, you know, I don't know if I can say vagina. Can I say vagina? Can I say that?
I mean, your booby out, it'll be good.
I was about to say, yeah, like even when I was just telling you the stuff about, you know, like my vagina, like I'm just scared to, you know, like look at it. I don't know if it's really, bless you, all of my boobs. Bless you. Bless you.
Oh.
You're so handsome.
And you know what? I think too with you crying and stuff, I think it's more of like a shedding that's happening. More so of like, you know, something bad happening. I think it's like literally just shedding an old version, old habits, old lifestyle, so to speak, because now you have to adjust into a new lifestyle. So yeah. And
you know what? And that's so I was telling Terry too. I was like, you know, I don't really like recognize myself. You know, like I feel like I'm having a battle within right now, and it's more so realizing that I am like transitioning into another version of myself, and then I'm like still dealing with the old version of myself too, like having that realization, because now that I have a second child, it's kind of like I'm having the shift that I had with Elijah. It's like I'm having it times two, like again.
Yeah, you're grieving.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, like I just like I feel completely different. I look at things differently. Like I have a low tolerance for certain things.
Yeah,
it's certain things like
you're standing on business.
Yeah, and then it's like, so having Elijah and raising him and seeing, you know, certain things that we experienced together, and just how I went about raising him and things like that. And then having another boy too, it's like, okay, it's certain things that I definitely would do differently. And then on top of that, I actually have like, you know, his dad, like me and his dad are still together. Like, you know, we plan on staying together. We stuck like glue because he ain't going nowhere, period. Okay, we ain't going nowhere. And so, you know, actually having, for real, and actually like having that partner, like being around, because even I was still like, at the beginning of, I guess, like my postpartum recovery part, I was thinking about things from what I had went through with Elijah's dad that had nothing to do with what we have going on now. And so, you know, I just been like battling with just a few things from the past and where I am like today, you know.
So you were dealing with old wounds.
Yeah. But yeah, like I can definitely Oh, he over there. He trying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All I see was your little eyes, your head.
That's why he on the side of the booth.
I'm sorry, Judah. You over here trying to get something to eat and I'm talking. I'm sorry. Look, this is the only time that he passionately just slowly get on my boob. And when he all frustrated, he be attacking this guy.
Yeah, like he do that pacifier. That man be head first, like he about to headbutt somebody. Like, calm down, it's coming. Like, gosh, but
you see that was so much more loving.
Yes, so much more.
But yeah, so it's definitely, and it's still a transition, and I'm still listening to my body and myself, and especially my energy, because my energy it never steers me wrong. Like my gut, like when I feel a certain type of way about things, like even just having like people that I talked to before the pregnancy, like reaching out to me after the pregnancy, and just paying attention to if my body has changed about the feeling before versus now. And it's like, I'm just like really just paying attention to myself, and like how I'm feeling about certain things to kind of guide me through it.
Yeah, I like that. I definitely understand that for sure. And I think we all in that season, to be honest, whether you a parent or not. Like, I think the world collectively is going through some type of like energetic shift like that.
Yeah, yeah, dang, because that just hit on so many things. Because it's like, just imagine what the world would be like if people actually paid attention to their body and their energy, and like how they was really, feeling about things, and not to really like just say be led like by your feelings, because you want to feel them things, but then you also want to take a moment to be still, and kind of process it and think about it at the same time. So, but a lot of people got like clouded judgment basically.
Yeah.
And so just being able to kind of like be in my own space.
Yeah.
I just know that like my judgment isn't clouded about nothing, So yeah, and I think that I'm just very like spiritually open to a lot of things right now. Is how I feel.
That's what, and it's crazy. We was having that conversation at the doula training. We were talking about moms they're only really supposed to be in the house for like 40 days, and they got like a 5-5. I think it's a 5-5-5 rule, where you're 5 days in the bed, 5 days around the house.
That's what what she did.
5 times around the house. I thought you were gonna say Terry was gonna tell you.
That was Michelle. Michelle was like, I got a 5-5-5 rule. She was like 5 days in the bed, 5 days around the bed, and then 5 days around the house.
Yeah, and that's also telling too when it comes to like the process of healing in general. But since we're talking about like your postpartum experience, I think it goes to show how gradually it takes how am I going to say this? It's like a gradual healing, rather than people, especially as women, we just so used to after we have a birth, we don't have that support. So we walking around and we don't really know what that 5-5-5 rule is, and then we also don't take it serious enough because we lack the support, and we also just been used to just going and going and going. So how has that been a challenge? Has that been a challenge for you, like getting
like sitting down?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been a challenge for sure. It's been a challenge because I'm just, like you said, like I'm used to like just getting up and like doing something, like being out and about. And it was very, very hard. Even like it was really my first week, because I didn't really feel that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like my body didn't feel that bad. However, the more, especially with it being like my first week, my second week, the more that I was like up, like moving around and just into things, like trying to be like too active, I would feel my body would feel like it was just giving me signals of like sit your ass down, you know.
It was heavy.
Yeah, it was just like
intense.
I mean, it was like sometimes I would just have like random, you know, like pain somewhere, and then I have to be like, okay, like let me sit down. But then also I was more emotionally
chaotic.
yeah, when I was like up trying to do things versus like just sitting down and accepting that it's okay to rest. And I think that's the most important thing, is like us understanding like, yeah, we be on the go, so we don't really know what rest is. And so when we finally get the opportunity to rest, it's foreign to us. So I was having a hard time accepting that, hey, like you've been busy during your pregnant. I was still doing my real estate, still like trying to like build my clientele, still being very active during my pregnancy. And it's like I would say maybe like the last, because something was just telling me like and I remember asking Terry too, this was like maybe like a month or two before, I think it was maybe like 2 months out before you know, Judah due date. And I was like, babe, I was like, I think I'm gonna stop like